Days of Our Lives. Welcome back to NBC News. Brace yourself for the explosive week of November 17th to 21st. Welcome back to NBC News channel. Today we will explore the most compelling and jaw-dropping developments coming to Salem this week, where secrets are about to explode and relationships will face their most critical tests yet. 1. Kristen's shocking kidnapping mystery finally comes to light. The question that has haunted Days of Our Lives fans for weeks is finally set to be answered. Who orchestrated Kristen DiMera's kidnapping from Statesville Prison, and what were their true intentions? For viewers who have been following this storyline with bated breath, the week ahead promises to deliver the long-awaited truth about this mysterious abduction that sent shockwaves through Salem's criminal underworld. After enduring captivity in unknown circumstances, Kristen DiMera will finally see the light at the end of the tunnel as a mysterious rescuer moves to free her from her imprisonment. The details surrounding her kidnapping will be meticulously unraveled, revealing a conspiracy far more complex and far-reaching than anyone could have initially imagined. As the veil of secrecy lifts, both Kristen and longtime Days viewers will simultaneously discover the identity of her captor and the motivations that drove them to such an extreme measure. The implications of this revelation extend far beyond Kristen herself. Speculation abounds regarding whether her kidnapping represents a deliberate act connected to the still unexplained disappearance of Tony DiMera, the beloved patriarch whose vanishing act has left the DiMera empire in chaos and confusion. Could the same orchestrating force be responsible for both mysteries? Additionally, viewers have theorized that Dimitri von Leuschner's mysterious disappearance might be intrinsically linked to Kristen's kidnapping, suggesting a web of interconnected crimes that stretch across multiple storylines. As Kristen processes this shocking revelation and begins to piece together the puzzle of her abduction, she will find herself thrust into increasingly precarious and bewildering situations that will challenge her both physically and emotionally. The mysterious person or persons behind her kidnapping may present new dangers and complications that extend well beyond her freedom from prison. This emerging chaos will force Kristen to navigate treacherous new circumstances while attempting to make logical sense of events that seem to defy explanation. 2. DiMera dynasty spirals into fresh crisis. Abe's protective instincts put to the test. The DiMera family's propensity for generating catastrophe shows no signs of diminishing, and the incoming week will introduce yet another layer of crisis to their already turbulent dynasty. This ongoing pattern of chaos and scandal has become a defining characteristic of Salem's most powerful and influential family, and Abe Carver recognizes the alarming trajectory all too well. Abe has grown increasingly protective of his son Theo, driven by a deep-seated and legitimate concern that Theo may find himself ensnared in the DiMera family's gravitational pull toward destruction and criminal activity. His paternal instincts are working overtime. He contemplates the very real possibility that Theo could become an unwitting participant in the next major DiMera scandal that looms on the horizon. The relationship between Theo and the DiMera name has been a source of considerable tension for Abe, who worries that proximity to that notorious family will inevitably lead to complications for his son. However, the dynamics of this family conflict may be gradually shifting as Lonnie Price Grant has been actively and persistently working behind the scenes to help Abe understand and ultimately accept Theo's choices regarding his involvement with the DiMera family. Through careful negotiation and thoughtful discussion, Lonnie has been building a bridge between Abe's protective concerns and the reality that Theo is an adult capable of making his own decisions. Her influence may prove decisive in helping Abe gradually come to terms with Theo's path and his connection to Salem's most influential and complicated dynasty. 3. Chad's residential dilemma threatens family separation. Jennifer's Boston plan creates tension. Within the broader context of the DiMera household turmoil, Chad DiMera faces a deeply personal crisis that strikes at the very heart of his parental responsibilities and family stability. The question of where his children, Thomas and Charlotte, will reside has become a point of significant contention that threatens to escalate into a full-blown custody battle. E.J. DiMera has extended a seemingly generous invitation to Chad, offering him temporary refuge within the DiMera mansion while the current chaos and instability surrounding the family gradually settles and resolves itself. This invitation appears attractive on the surface, providing Chad with stability and the protective environment of the DiMera estate during this tumultuous period. However, the situation becomes dramatically more complicated when Jennifer Horton Devereaux enters the equation with her own proposals and demands regarding the children's welfare. Jennifer remained steadfastly and unwaveringly committed to her belief that Thomas and Charlotte should be relocated to Boston, where they can live with their grandparents and be removed from the toxic environment that perpetually surrounds Salem's most scandal-prone families. Her argument carries considerable weight, removing young children from constant exposure to crime, deception, and family drama would seemingly serve their best interests and provide them with a more stable, wholesome upbringing. This creates an agonizing dilemma for Chad, who finds himself torn between two opposing forces. On one hand, he recognizes the legitimate validity of Jennifer's concerns and understands the protective wisdom behind her proposal. On the other hand, the prospect of his beloved children being separated from him by hundreds of miles fills him with dread and paternal desperation. Facing the possibility of extended legal proceedings and drawn-out custody battles that could prove emotionally and financially draining, Chad may ultimately capitulate to Jennifer's Boston arrangement, though likely with the intention that this separation will be temporary rather than permanent. 4. Tavern Trivia Night sets the stage for romance and impending revelation. Amidst all the chaos and conflict that typically dominates Salem, the community comes together for a moment of levity and connection when the local tavern hosts an evening of trivia competition and social gathering. This seemingly innocent and light-hearted event provides the perfect backdrop for several significant character interactions and plot developments. Steve Johnson and Kayla Johnson, the beloved power couple of Days of Our Lives, will participate in this trivia competition, bringing their characteristic charm, intelligence, and playful banter to the evening's proceedings. Their presence injects warmth and stability into the narrative, reminding viewers that genuine love and partnership endure even as chaos whirls around them. However, the most consequential interactions of the evening will involve Gabi Hernandez and Philip Kiriakis, who arrive at the tavern to partake in what appears to be a perfectly normal evening of entertainment and companionship. Their attendance represents a seemingly romantic gesture, a couple enjoying quality time together during happier circumstances. Yet beneath the surface of this pleasant scene simmers a ticking time bomb of deception and betrayal that threatens to obliterate everything Gabi and Philip have begun to rebuild together. This trivia night represents perhaps Gabi's final opportunity to come clean with Philip about her role in the conspiracy surrounding Tony DiMera's reclamation of Titan Industries. The confession would likely cause considerable damage to their budding romance and shatter Philip's trust in her fundamental character and integrity. However, all available evidence suggests that Gabi will remain silent during this peaceful evening, choosing instead to continue perpetuating the lie and allowing Philip to believe she has been forthright with him about her activities and motivations. In doing so, Gabi seizes this brief window of happiness and normalcy with both hands, knowing with some degree of certainty that this tranquility cannot last. The confession will eventually come to light. Secrets in Salem never remain buried indefinitely. When Philip discovers what Gabi has hidden from him, the revelation will likely deliver a crushing blow to their newly formed romantic connection. The trust that forms the foundation of their relationship will crumble, potentially spelling the end of what could have been a genuine and lasting partnership. 5. Marlena's supernatural visions intensify. The Queen of the Night returns. The supernatural and mysterious elements that have historically made Days of Our Lives such a captivating and unpredictable program will resurface with considerable intensity when Marlene Evans begins experiencing increasingly vivid and disturbing dream sequences. These nighttime visions, centered around the haunting and cryptic archetype of the Queen of the Night, are escalating in frequency and psychological impact on the renowned doctor and woman of considerable spiritual significance. Marlene has long been portrayed as a character with unique sensitivity to otherworldly phenomena and supernatural forces that exist just beyond the veil of normal perception. Her history of demonic possession and paranormal encounters has established her as Salem's resident expert on all matters mysterious and metaphysical. However, these new visions represent something different, something more immediate and more personally threatening than her previous experiences. These recurring nightmares are beginning to manifest tangible effects on Marlena's physical and emotional well-being, causing deterioration in her health and mental state that cannot be ignored or dismissed as mere psychological stress. The intensifying nature of these visions will likely necessitate her hospitalization at Salem Hospital, where medical professionals and her loved ones can monitor her condition and attempt to determine whether this represents a purely psychological phenomenon or something more sinister and supernatural in nature. The return of the Queen of the Night archetype to Marlena's subconscious raises intriguing questions about what this figure represents and what dire warnings or prophecies these visions might be attempting to communicate. Is Marlena's unconscious mind attempting to warn her of impending danger? Are these visions connected to the larger chaos and upheaval currently engulfing Salem? The answers remain frustratingly elusive, but the growing urgency and vividness of these nocturnal experiences suggests that something significant is approaching on the horizon. 6. Jealousy and passion explode. Xander's wrathful interruption of Brady and Sarah's romantic moment. In what promises to be one of the week's most dramatically charged scenes, Brady Black and Sarah Horton-Kiriakis will share a significant and emotionally meaningful moment together. An encounter that will highlight the genuine connection and undeniable chemistry that exists between these two characters. This intimate exchange, filled with romantic potential and genuine emotional resonance, represents a turning point in their relationship and could potentially blossom into something more profound and lasting. However, this tender moment will be catastrophically interrupted by the unexpected arrival of Xander Kiriakis, whose fierce and passionate jealousy transforms him into a tempest of rage and wounded fury. Xander's entrance will be marked by an intense and angry reaction, driven by his deep-seated feelings for Sarah and his possessive conviction that she belongs with him rather than with Brady. His outburst will shatter the peaceful intimacy of the moment, replacing it with explosive tension and confrontational drama. Xander's jealous fury represents more than mere romantic rivalry. It reflects his fundamental insecurity regarding his place in Sarah's heart and his fear that Brady represents a rival he cannot hope to vanquish. The intensity of his reaction will underscore the depth of Xander's emotional investment in Sarah and his desperation to prevent her from moving forward with another man. This dramatic confrontation will force all three characters to confront their true feelings and the impossible choices they face regarding love, loyalty, and personal fulfillment. The collision between Xander's wrathful jealousy and Brady's calm confidence will create a volatile scenario charged with emotional electricity and the potential for either reconciliation or irreparable damage to the relationships involved. Salem's most passionate love triangle will reach a critical inflection point, with consequences that will reverberate through the coming weeks and reshape the romantic landscape for all parties involved. The week of November 17th to 21st on Days of Our Lives promises to deliver an extraordinary convergence of mystery, family drama, romantic turmoil, and supernatural intrigue that exemplifies why this show has captivated audiences for generations. From Kristen's rescue and the revelation of her kidnapper's identity to the impending collapse of Gabi and Philip's romance. From Chad's custody struggles to Marlena's intensifying supernatural visions. Salem will once again prove that nowhere on television packs more emotional and dramatic firepower than the beloved halls and homes where these timeless stories unfold. Viewers should prepare themselves for an unforgettable week filled with shocking developments and game-changing revelations.